Battlezone Games presents Michael Helgens and Greg Kilberger in The Watson Files. Battlezone Games invites you to join Dr. Watson for another exciting adventure with his good friend Spencer Holmes. With a diverse selection, Battlezone Games is sure to have what you're looking for. Check out the current inventory at battlezonegames.com. And stop in on Monday for board game night. The store is conveniently located just off of Interstate 380 at 85 North Center Point Road in Hiawatha. This year we are taking part in the Summer of Multiplayer, sponsored by Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering. For those special game nights, check the schedule on battlezonegames.com. And now, let's join the doctor and see what story he has for us today.
Come in.
Dr. Watson, how are you this evening?
Ah, Mr. Dahlen. I'm doing quite well, thank you.
Did you have a good Memorial Day?
Yes. Like all good Americans, I spent the day on the back deck with my grill and some friends. We ate some wonderful pork burgers and played games.
Ah, such as one you might find at Battlezone Games.
Yes, as a matter of fact. I tried out a new game called Bafflegabby that I believe can be found on battlezonegames.com. You have 1 minute to write a story using 5 random words that are given to you. Then you get points for using them correctly or for using them in the same sentence.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes, it was.
So, I believe the last time we were together, you mentioned Holmes being arrested for murder.
Yes, I did. This case was rather unique as I was required to do much of the legwork due to Holmes's state of incarceration.
And what was it that led Officer Weathers to arrest Holmes?
Now, Craig, I believe you're jumping ahead. I need to start at the beginning.
Yes, of course. How does it begin then?
Well, tonight's story begins just after we had finished exposing the headless ghost at Mr. Harrington's house.
Yes, you told us about that one a couple weeks ago.
Well, the next day Holmes and I decided to go out to eat and spend some of the cash we had earned the night before. I met him at an upscale restaurant around the corner from his apartment. After dropping off his car with the valet, Holmes was directed to the table where I was waiting and we ordered drinks. We were enjoying some pleasant conversation, and not 5 minutes had gone by when Officer Weathers approached our table. Unfortunately, he was not there for a pleasant visit, and quickly put Holmes in handcuffs. You know, considering the amount of money Mr. Harrington paid you for getting rid of his ghost, I'm rather hoping he needs more assistance again in the future.
Well, you never know. His house might become haunted again.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yes, maybe you could even haunt his garden.
Holmes, are you suggesting that I pose as a ghost so that Mr. Harrington will believe his house is possessed by a spirit again?
Well, that way I'd have a chance to try some new methods of removing apparitions.
Such as?
Well, I figure I'd probably start with the .22 caliber and work my way up from there.
Ah, Holmes, you wouldn't know what to do without me.
I'm sure I could figure something out.
Excuse me, Mr. Holmes.
Officer Weathers, good to see you. Care to join us?
I'm afraid I don't have time for that, Doctor. I'm here on official business.
On a case, are you?
Yes. Now, please, I must insist that you come with me.
What type of case is it?
Kidnapping and serial murder.
Who is missing?
No one anymore. We found her a couple of minutes ago.
Oh, well, then the investigation can wait until after dinner.
No, I'm afraid you misunderstand. You have become the subject of the investigation.
What? You're joking, right?
No, I'm afraid not. You're gonna have to come downtown and answer some questions.
All right, I've got no plans for the night other than dinner. It might be fun.
I'll look into it, Holmes. I'm sure it's just a misunderstanding.
Well, I hope so, but it's not looking too good so far.
And what, may I ask, is the terrible evidence that you have against me?
I'd prefer not to discuss it here.
Officer Weathers, I believe the man has a right to know why he's being detained.
Well, when the valet parked your car, he heard a noise coming from the trunk. He opened the back and found the woman.
What?
She was tied up and beaten pretty badly.
Clearly, he's being set up.
I can assure you that I did not know she was in there.
Oh, you assure me? Well, why didn't you say so? If I have your assurance, then clearly you couldn't be involved. Dinner's over. Let's go.
Excuse me, officer. My name is Dr. Watson. I consult with the police from time to time.
Yeah, I've seen you around with that Holmes guy, right?
Well, I was eating inside and I heard about what was going on. I thought perhaps I'd offer my assistance.
Oh, sure. We'd appreciate all the help we can get.
So, what's the story?
Well, one of the valets found a half-dead woman in the trunk of a car.
And what caused him to look in the trunk in the first place?
Apparently he drove the car down to the lot and parked it. Standard stuff. As he was walking away, he heard a noise from the trunk. He said it sounded like a person moaning or something, so he popped the trunk and there she was.
Who is she?
Didn't get her name, but she's a working woman, if you catch my drift.
I think I do. But she's okay?
Yeah, more or less. She's on her way to the Sisters of Mercy Hospital. We'll know more once the doctors evaluate her there.
I heard there was a murder involved.
Yes, we think this killing is related to the red light murders.
Ah, yes. I was just reading about that in the paper. 4 prostitutes have been killed recently, I believe. What makes you think this is related?
Well, aside from her occupation, there were similar ropes, the same knots. She was abducted in the same area using the same method. It's a good thing we found her while she was still alive, 'cause if he followed the same pattern, she'd be dead later tonight.
Any suspects?
Yeah, apparently the owner of the car was eating in the restaurant.
Do you know who he is?
No, Officer Weathers checked the registration and then suddenly became very secretive and wouldn't give me any more information.
That's odd.
That's what I thought.
All right, well, thank you for bringing me up to speed, officer. I'm going to have a look around if you don't mind.
Be my guest.